Update on the Mustang. So a couple of major milestones this week were hit. First is mounting the motor and transmission combo. Just actually putting it in the motor bay and fitting it into the tunnel and everything is always a big hurdle, especially when you're making all the parts that go onto the motor and tranny combo, and you're placing in the motor mounts independently. So when you put it all together, you hope everything fits nicely. And I've got to tell you, Alan did an outstanding job in his measurements and placement, because these ears for the front motor mounts have just been tacked in, and I'm telling you, we rolled it up, it dropped perfectly in. And the good news is, not only is there plenty of rear to do the room here to do the rear ones, the tunnel looks like it may not even have to be modified. That's really all good news. So that's a big milestone to get that goal achieved. Now in the rear, the box that's going to be the outside parts of the rear battery have been CNC machined and bolted together. It's hollow, it's not populated, it's got a lot of work to do before that happens, but it is structurally complete on the outside. And we decided to mount it a different way than before. Instead of doing a cradle system like we did in the front, we've decided to machine these 1/4-inch steel plates and then do some weight reduction cutouts on them. And those attach to the outside elements of the battery box itself, using these long cooling plates as part of the structural strengthening system. It reduces a lot of weight, and it's a very clean install. As you can see, once again, the motor mount areas, because we're using motor mounts to isolate the whole battery from the car, wow, it bolted right in and just fits in like a glove on both sides. So good news is now we know that this large rear battery will fit in, and if I were to lower this and show you, there's enough room left inside the trunk to put a, you know, like a small suitcase or something in there. Still a little bit of a trunk. Big milestones, good progress. All right, so now we're working on the mounting system for these inverters, these Reinhardt inverters. There's 2 of them. And what we've decided to do is they're going to be located, this pink box represents the front battery module, and this is one of the mock-ups of the inverters. It's to scale. These are going to be positioned roughly where you see this one setting here, so we can still look down and see the battery and everything, but we want to have them floating above the battery. So we're going to do a mounting system that is a steel plate that connects to the frame down here. We started fabricating these bars. They have these bolt releasable clamps at the top. Okay, now why at the top? So this bar is now going to be welded onto a structure that we're cutting from this piece of 3/16 steel. So we CNC'd a frame structure here that will go on the bottom of the inverter, so it will attach with these bolts. The nuts are being tigged onto the frame. Then in turn, this will now be welded in to this frame. Boom, whole thing sets down. It'll be bolt removable at the bottom. You'll be able to undo this clamp system here and lift the inverter out. So there'll be a couple ways to take it in and out. And of course, we do all this machining out here to maintain strength and yet reduce weight. All right, so we have fabricated, welded, and this has actually been installed. Let's see, it's actually welded in down here at the bottom. The motor mounts and everything have also been welded in, including the rear ones, so those are all in, and the motor fits like a glove. So that's pretty cool. But you can see here, this is what the underside of the supports for the inverters look like, and that's an actual inverter mounted to it and floating. We kind of like this because we tilted them just slightly to sort of follow the flow of the engine bay, and then ultimately there's going to be a whole video on the creation of a giant power distribution box that's going to float here and be connected to these, and that's going to be the heart of all the power routing from the batteries into the inverters, into the motors, etc. Anyway, it's looking really good. Once we get ready to have everything done finally, this will all come out. I'll clean everything, prep it all, and then chassis black it, and it'll all look beautiful. But so far so good. I like everything but the pink box.